It feels a lot like your soul is very peaceful. It's come here to experience a lot of peace. You're supposed to find peace even in the chaos. There are mirroring things in this life from that past life that you've come to heal with this person.
You're strong. I mean, you can even, like pull yourself up without even having your feet touch anything.
I find that even in your current life right now, it's still important for you to use your voice.
What I'm getting is that you want a love that you can contribute to. You're asking for like platinum, so you can't accept the copper when it shows up, even though it's pretty too.
You are being pushed outside your comfort zone to seek new heights.
And you are true to yourself and you're true to others around you as you live your authentic life. You are just you, and that is all you need to open up. We need you to speak your truth, Katrina.
All right, so today's episode is going to be a little different than my typical this episode was not planned. Just say that. I am going to be sharing a tarot reading I received. This is the first time I've ever paid for a tarot reading, and honestly, it blew me the fuck away. And so, as somebody who was definitely at one point of my life super skeptical about this type of stuff, I figured it would be pretty cool to record a couple of episodes, honestly, because this is a pretty long tarot reading, but I do want to share it. So I found this guy by way of TikTok. Nada had sent me a message that had one of his readings that really resonated with her. And so I was just so taken in by his energy. I was like, oh my God, I love this man. I want to do a reading with him. I'm so curious to connect with him. And like all things in my life, at the end of the day, I feel like this reading was divinely orchestrated and it was something that I really needed to hear. So I'm going to start out by sharing the audio of what I sent him prior to my reading, because that kind of gives you context. He basically said that I could do a general reading or I could do a very specific reading. Well, I kind of asked for a general reading and he asked for an overview, and this was my response.
Oh my God, can I just say that I cannot believe how much time has gone by. When I first booked the reading, I'm Sagittarius, I have zero patience. You were like the 21st and I was like dying inside. I'm like, no, it's like 20 years from now. And now here we are, it's about to be the 21st and I literally forgot that we have the reading tomorrow. So super, 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 super excited.
I might be a little extra, guys. Nice to meet you.
Wow, now with respect to overview, I mean, I'm a very present person, and when I booked this reading, a girlfriend of mine had sent me a link that she felt like applied to her or both of us, and I was just so intrigued by her energy. I do work with psychics a lot, and so I was like, oh my God, I have to book a reading with this man and find out what he's told on my behalf. So my intentions are just to receive whatever messages come through to you for me with an open heart and for my highest and greatest good. My life situation and what I hope to gain. I guess I just hope to gain any insight that's going to help me move forward or make internal shifts or changes that I may be slacking on, maybe bring things into my awareness that are not into my awareness that I need to be aware of, where I need to grow and develop. With respect to my love life, I have no love life right now. I'm dying for a life partner. I would murder a small child for a husband. I'm joking, but only slightly. But I don't have one right now. So I would love to figure out what needs to happen within me to invite that energy into my experience. And then with respect to work, so I own a few companies and I feel like I'm in this transitional period right now where I'm kind of allowing or setting myself up to where other people are kind of running my companies to give me more freedom to do whatever moves me next, but I don't really know what's next. So I'm always going to have the income of my companies, but as far as being actively involved, I'm burnt out on what I do. I'm in the wedding industry. I'm just tired of it. But I'm not really sure what direction to go next with respect to, being of service to the world or earning income, or maybe both in one. Okay, even though I own several companies, I have a real challenge when it comes to financial discipline. I could make $1 million and I feel like I would find a way to spend $1,000,001. So I'd like to know what I think I would like some guidance in the area of what shifts I need to make internally to help, with managing money better, because I can manifest like a mofo, but like I'm not gonna cuss. But as far as like being more intentional and more disciplined, we'll just go with disciplined financially, that would be super great, because like I said, I own a few businesses. I think I've grossed over $200,000 worth of work this year, and I literally have $100 in my account. Help.
Oh man, I don't even remember which button I pushed.
Okay, even though
Okay, I already played that one.
And then the last thing I think I will touch on overview wise would be my living situation. So I'm technically homeless, but I live in an Airbnb that I've been renting since the end of July of this year. And I have the Airbnb scheduled until November 20th, but as I previously mentioned, issues with managing finances. I would love some guidance onto, like, I don't know if you can tell me like where I should move or how I should look or when that opportunity is going to fall into my lap or something with regards to just like my living situation would be super helpful. And then other than that, just any random information, that spirit wants me to know. I'm always open and, willing to listen. So thank you in advance. One last question. How is the reading delivered to me? Is it like through email or... Also, I'm really sorry. Like, I think I'm really funny. And I know sometimes it can just be obnoxious, but like, yeah. Thanks for listening.
God, I'm a fucking nerd. I love it.
Okay, so like the OCD person that I am, I just listened to all my messages. And I made one mistake where I was talking about my living situation. I have the Airbnb until January 20th, not November 20th. November 20th is today. So January 20th. And then also, finally, I want to set the intention that you doing this reading for me fills you with energy instead of depletes your energy. I hope that my guides and angels feel magnificent, and I hope that you walk away from this reading feeling energized and even more blessed and more abundant than you did before you began it.
So yeah, if you're psychic or intuitive, you know that when you do readings for people, when you channel energy from spirit, it's very, very, very exhausting. And so I wanted to set the intention that, reading for me would be energizing. It probably wasn't because, that's kind of the nature of the beast. It's like you're processing information. Anyway, I digress. So that was our overview. Let's go ahead and get right into the reading. I'm going to share, I think I'm going to go for about maybe 35, 40 minutes. And I'm just going to cut in with different, insights.
It cut me off towards the end, but the second I finished connecting with your energy, I began to hum. So something to do with your Vishuddha chakra, the throat chakra. It's interesting, actually. I feel like psychicness, metaphysical tendencies runs in your family. But you're the one that's embraced it more than any other. I am getting this very much like independent spirit, but you're also very capable of connecting with people. But it's interesting, actually. It's a very calculated approach to working with people. Like if you're hanging out with people, it could be social anxiety, to be fair, but if you're hanging out with people, there's a over-analyzation of how you're acting and the situation, it feels like, and you're just very aware, basically.
So out the fucking gate, like nail on the damn head. I do have family members who are spiritual, but like none of them walk around talking about, I talk to dead people, which is really my way of like kind of putting myself at ease by kind of demanding myself to be seen when I engage with people. It's like, that's a bit overstated, it's true, but yeah, I'm definitely the only person in my family that I'm aware of that offers readings. I do have a cousin who does Reiki. My sister's extremely in tune, but she's not recording podcasts about it or doing readings or whatever. And then with regards to social like interactions, so I didn't know my whole life that, you know, I was psychic, but I could feel people so intensely. And when I'm with people, I don't just experience how I experience them. I'm also experiencing how they experience me. It's like this hyper awareness, like he says, of like, I can feel how people are responding to my every move, and I can feel what it feels like to be in other people. And also, meanwhile, I'm also having to deal with like my own, you know, feelings and sense of being and whatnot. So right off the bat, he didn't even pull a fucking card yet, you know, and
Also, here is the time in the UK as I start shuffling. Oh, also, I forgot to say, I keep saying also, I'm going to be using 2 kinds of tarot. Now, I never use this deck for client readings. To be fair, I use it when I go out and I want to use a party trick. But I don't know, something about it, I was just called to it. So I'm going to be using the Rider-Waite Tarot, and then called, only if I feel called, I'm going to use that deck. We're going to be using the Dragon Oracle, the Gateway of Light Oracle, the Angel and Ancestor Oracle, and last but not least, the Starseed Oracle. So we've got quite a lot of stuff to get to. I feel like you're very, I don't know, you give me the energy of a lion. And now, I'm not saying you're a fire sign or a Leo, but I really do just get this energy of like ferocity. You've came so far, you know, despite adversities.
Dude. So my fucking natal chart, my sun is in Sagittarius, my moon is in Leo, my Mercury's in Sagittarius, my Jupiter's in Sagittarius, my Uranus is in Sagittarius, my Neptune is in Sagittarius. There's fire all in my fucking chart. The one thing I don't have in my chart is Earth. There's no Earth, no Asaki.
It's quite inspiring, actually. Anyway.
And yeah, he's right. I've definitely been through hell and have like, I feel like people who get to know me, which is like kind of not a lot of people, honestly, because I tend to come into people's lives, and for whatever reason, I was once told that I come into people's lives and I impact their lives in a forever kind of way, but not that many people get to be in my life forever, which kind of sucks. But the people that really get to know me usually are like, how are you functioning? Like, when they like learn my backstory, and I never run around like saying, oh, this happened to me. Like, I'm not a drama queen like that. Like, it'll just be something that will just kind of organically come up, and I'll mention an experience. I'll be like, what the fuck? Like, how are you just like here, just, you know, functioning? Like, I've been called a diamond in a rough or the rose out of the concrete, you know, several times. So he's right on point with that. None of that stuff I mentioned in my overview.
Let's see what's going on. So we've got the 9 of Wands and the 7 of Cups. Your current energy, my love, is preparing for expansion. And the thing is, there are so many different paths that you can take, but that can feel overwhelming in a sense, you know. It's funny, actually, there's a dragon in this club. And first of all, we're talking straight away about your love life. It's not hard for you to find someone, you know. You're a pretty girl, and there's just, what I say, yeah, your standards are very high.
You know, I personally feel like I am the most easy woman to please. I'm not materialistic, but I think the reason, that's probably why I'm, you know, have high standards, because I need a deep connection. Like, I need to like, it needs to be very emotionally connected, very like, there needs to be like mutual interest and passion and just connection, and like, yeah, everybody, like, honestly, I feel like in this world, most people are like looking for, from my perspective, on a romantic level, some super lightweight shit, and I'm looking for some real shit.
It's fascinating. In the past, you've only had experiences where it was essentially minimalistic in what you deserve. It wasn't enough. It didn't meet your standards, your criteria, you know. But this has given you more time and, I guess, freedom to put into yourself and the more physical aspects of your life, such as career.
Which is bittersweet because, you know, while I have been able to like build my companies and whatnot, there's also been times where I really needed just time to be. And it's really hard when you don't have a partner to like pick up the slack for you and kind of like, you know, show up in the areas where you can't. I'm just kind of like alone, which is bleh.
Along with that, I feel like this does actually tie into one of your questions about why you have trouble with your finances, particularly saving and managing. Could it be the fact that you're trying to validate your internal loneliness or internal lack of emotional fulfillment with someone else with material gain, you know? Possibly. I don't know. That's just a theory, but it could be confirmed.
Now that smacked me upside the back of the fucking head. I was not really prepared to hear that. Because I definitely have this energy, like when it comes to money, it's like I can have whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. I can have whatever I want. But I really, really, really don't give a fuck about anything. I don't care about materialistic stuff. Everything with me is emotion and experience and earth and like feeling, you know?
Six of Swords, yeah. You're going through a confirmation, your intuition's on point. You're going through a major transitional period right now. And funnily enough, when I did connect with your energy, there was a male energy that came through straight away. So take that as you will. But it's very much like this energy of he's guiding you right now. And you'll notice you're currently on the water, right? And the water is, or the ocean, I should say. The ocean here is symbolic of your mind, your emotions, right? And the ocean can be unpredictable. You can get waves, tsunamis, typhoons, tundras, whatever the fuck. Sorry. But just know you're being guided. So whatever emotions arise right now that feel unpredictable or chaotic, you're being guided.
So that was really apt because at the time of this reading, I was having an ex. The narcissist I did an episode about, his energy kept coming up into my, into my experience. Like, I'm extremely intuitive. If somebody like cares for me deeply or thinks about me, I can feel it. And I know when it's not me because it'll just be out of the fucking blue and it'll be in ways that I'm not thinking about. So he was actually thinking about some emails that he'd sent me pretending to be Nada. And he was feeling so stupid. Like, what the fuck was I like? Like I can feel this mortification energy within him. It was like he was replaying some of the things that he did, like to me, and just how stupid he felt now that he's in a different stage. Like he's in a different place in his life. I feel like where he's not as douchey, or as disillusioned, or as the delusions of grandeur that he held were just have broken away. And he was kind of like re-experiencing this, and I just felt like this douchiness. And then I had somebody else in my life that I connected with earlier this year, and his energy kept coming up, and it was interesting because I could feel him thinking about me. I could feel him wanting to reach out to me, but just being like in his ego, or just being like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like I still don't have time. There's nothing that I can do to change what because I had messaged him like, look, I can't. I need your time. If you if you find the time to like spend meaningful time with me, hit me up. Like I'm in. But if you can't, like I have to separate myself from this because it's breaking my heart. Like every fucking day I can't do this, I can't live like this. So I could feel him also feeling how he felt about me and just like being like, fuck, but also like, fuck that, because he's got a big ego like I do. So I totally get it. But it was interesting because these things were coming through, and like, the guy that he's talking about, one of my spirit guides, I have a few, everybody has a ton of spirit guides, but I'm aware of 4 of them, and 2 of them are male. And one is my spiritual, guide, and the other one is like my doctor guide. And I really feel like it's my spiritual guide. And he's like navigating me through these emotions so that I can process things, so that I can become lighter, so that I can receive more information and be more of service.
You'll soon reach dry land. And that brings us to this, your current energies with the 4 of Cups. You're in this energy of craving change, craving expansion, craving new. It very much feels like your soul is eager to express itself in a new way. And that's coming out in the form of essentially frustration with your current situation. There's gratitude, I can definitely feel that, but there is just this energy of like, what am I missing kind of thing.
I am very passion driven. And at this particular point in my life, and honestly, I feel like for the majority of this year, you know how you wake up in the morning and then there's just a fire inside you and you can't wait to do something? I have been missing that. It doesn't exist in my, businesses. It doesn't exist. I don't have a love life really. So there's no fire there. Like there's no fire. Even the things that really super brought me joy, like last year, like snowboarding and like training, it's just kind of like, meh. It's like everything just kind of tastes bland.
We have the Empress in reverse. Ooh, and then funnily enough, on this deck, we have the Empress upright. You are, I love it. So you are the Empress. The Empress is the divine feminine. She knows her worth. She's abundant, healthy, wealthy, happy. She feels fulfilled and aligned with her life, right? And while you have the skills to achieve this, my love, you essentially feel disconnected from alignment because, well, you're not where you perceive you should be, right? And a lot of this ties into it. So straight away, I'm going to urge you to work with your mother Taro chakra, the root chakra at the base of the spine. It's more than grounded. The root chakra is connected to material security. So where you live, your finances, the sacral plays a role in that, as does the solar plexus. But regardless, you feel out of alignment right now because there's a lot of areas in your life that don't feel secure. So,
dude, I definitely feel ungrounded a lot. Not only do I not have any earth elements in my chart, but also, like, if you study human design, my root chakra is undefined. So I like draw energy from others and the earth, and like it does, like that grounded feeling does not naturally exist in this incarnation, in this, like, in this physical body. It's very difficult for me to feel grounded.
I urge you to work with your root, find presence, connect with Gaia, connect with nature. Excuse me. Not just that, it feels like there's this deeper need for change in regards to what, it's almost like purpose is what I hear. It's like you have this deeper desire to have some kind of new purpose, it feels like. We have the Ten of Swords. Strength. Confirmation. Queen of Swords, Four of Swords in reverse, yeah. Ooh, literally. You mask very well. It's funny actually. You are very analytical as a result of your pain, if that makes sense. So confirmation for what I said, you've experienced a lot of adversity in this life. And the big thing that comes to my head is out of control. Like a lot of it wasn't just, it was literally for no reason, right? It was other people against you kind of thing, right?
I have definitely resorted to being analytical in order to help me not take things personally with regards to the way I've been treated. Because I've had some fucked up situations happen to me. And like, even with my mom, growing up, having her being like, suffering from paranoid schizophrenia, like when I went to college, I studied psychology so that I could get a better understanding of like what the fuck was wrong with her, and kind of like process. It's like, and it's like a blessing and a curse because I engage with people and I can feel them and I can analyze them, but it's like you're trying to use logic. I'm trying to use logic as a weapon, not a weapon. That's not the right word. As a shield, to shield myself from the emotional impact that people have on me. It's like, okay, if I can understand them and if I can get to where they're at mentally, then I don't have to take their, verbal daggers or accusations or lies or narratives personally. It hasn't really worked though. And I think there's a huge part of me that was in denial about that before this reading.
And with that, you've essentially formulated a sense of identity based off these experiences. Did you hear the crows?
I love this guy.
Fascinating. You've essentially become who you are. It shaped you, and it shaped you into this version of yourself that is the version of yourself that I said before, analytical, possibly over analytical of certain situations. But don't get me wrong, there's strength to you. I'm very drawn to the lion itself. You've got your hand in that lion's mouth, right? Or very close to it, I should say, which is symbolic of you being near that danger and then recovering from it, right? And then we have the Four of Swords in reverse. Now this is interesting. I feel like you're doing yourself an injustice. I feel like deep down you know the capacity and potential you have, and you're honestly like beating yourself up about it and constantly trying to figure out how to. And I feel like you are burning yourself out quintessentially to try and figure out how to get to where you feel you should get to, right? I always say to people, knowledge is it's a gift and a curse, because if you have the knowledge that you can be very successful and you deserve all these good things, but you don't have it, it's,
Yep. So I feel like deeply everything I do, I'm good at. Every job I've ever gotten, they've promoted me quickly. I'm an asset in any relationship that I'm in. I'm always trying to add because I have so much to offer. However, there's like this scatteredness about me that makes it really difficult for me to like dial that in. And honestly, the only times I feel like I've made the most strides in my life is when I did have a partner that had a more grounded energy, or a job where there's a bit of structure, because it's a beautiful thing when you are self-employed and when you move at your own pace and whatnot. But, if you get up and you just fucking play video games in the morning, or, you're just not sure how to channel your energy, because you have so much of it, you start feeling like a failure. Like, man, I can do fucking anything, and what the fuck am I doing,
Yeah, we have the Page of Wands in reverse. It's almost as if you're finding it difficult to connect with the more passionate side of life, the love. Straight away, I'm feeling very drawn to the winter time, deep winter, so like December, January time. I don't know why. You did say that the lease on your Airbnb moves out. But honestly, my love, what I'm feeling is warmth, and it's like that cozy feeling of December and Christmas, right? And I don't know what it is about it, but I don't know, I feel like crying when I think of this emotion of Christmas, basically. It's just like, I don't know. It could be many things. Maybe it's because you didn't believe that this would be what your Christmas was like, or maybe, I don't know. I feel like crying around December, January time.
As I'm recording this podcast on December 12th, that felt like a prediction that I have yet to really understand, which happens a lot in readings. Like sometimes in readings, it'll help you understand your past. And then sometimes it's kind of like a forewarning about like how things are going to be in the future.
We have the Five of Pentacles here. And that brings us to this. While it is, you can get money, right? That's not an issue. But it's more so your current overall energy, right? Your security. It's this, quite literally, feeling left out in the cold, feeling scared almost. I'm very drawn to the stained glass on the windows. And I don't know why it's giving me the energy of religious trauma or some kind of, I don't know. I'm just getting this opposed views kind of energy.
So when he was talking about this, I was thinking about how, what my upbringing was with, really wasn't raised in any sort of organized religion, but I did attend church because I thought my mom was a shitty mom. And so I took my sisters to church because I was like, well, somebody has to be the adult here or whatever. And it's interesting because a lot of the things that I believe and now know to be true kind of contradict what my prior belief system was, which has been interesting to say the least.
But I don't know. 8 of Wands, Page of Swords in reverse. There's a lot of pages in reverse. We have the Hermit, the Emperor crossed. Oh, I know exactly what we're talking about. And we have the World. Okay, so we're talking about your career more specifically now. Okay. So, it's funny actually. This is very layered, so I'll try and explain it the best I can. So you're currently going through a spiritual awakening. This isn't your first one, definitely not. But the average person has about 8 or 9 in their life, I believe. And this spiritual awakening is all about, with you, purpose. We'll call it purpose. And with you, I feel like you've always had a sense of direction, or always had something to work towards. And now you come into this point where essentially you're fulfilled in a lot of areas, right? Particularly when it comes to the foundations you've built in terms of career. You've got 3 pentacles, multiple stable things, right? And now you're at this point where I'm like, you know what? I feel ready for something new. And that brings us to the world. So the world is all about chapters, but it can also symbolize physical travel. With you, my love, I genuinely believe it's time for you to have that cliche moment of finding yourself. It's funny, actually. I feel drawn to your, I don't know, early 20s, it believes. I don't know, there's something about your early 20s that is also significant to finding yourself, which is interesting. But anyway, this ascension you're going through is essentially teaching you what you need to work on to release, so that you can get ready for this new chapter and quite literally explore yourself, you know.
Man, so after this reading was done on November 21st. I viewed this November 21st. I recorded the overview on November 20th, right before I went to bed. On on Thanksgiving, my daughter went over to her dad's house, the father of my first 2 kids. And when I was with him, he was extremely physically, mentally, emotionally abusive, all the things, right? But when I left him, now his mother, literally had pulled us apart, cleaned the blood off my body, like the whole fucking 9 yards. I remember she told me one time after she pulled us apart, she would never tell me to stay with the man who put his hands on me, right? So eventually I left when I was 22. And I remember she got on the phone with me. And now this woman, I really felt, I loved her. Like I really felt like she was a mother figure to me. She got on the phone with me and told me that I basically used her son. Completely made it out like not taking any responsibility for what he had, done, and just made it about me. And from that point on, like when I date, even to this day, I have a very hard time receiving, because I'd rather put my money up there, put my money up front. I'd rather drive the distance. I would rather do the things that way. If you fuck me over and I walk away, you don't get to say that I used you, which is bullshit. Like I've completely shut myself off to receiving, and I've just been basically an overgiver because of this, and have like not really allowed myself to be loved. This revelation came because my daughter had went over there, and they had attacked her. Every time she goes over there, they attack her. She's fast, even though she didn't lose her virginity till she was a grown ass woman. She doesn't dress like just going in on her, telling her mom didn't give her this. Like they have been talking about me non-fucking stop at family events since I left. And these people don't even know me. They do not know who the fuck I am. And I remember as she was telling me the story, I was so baffled. I was like, it's been like 18 years. I left him in 2006. I don't know what the math is on that. But all these fucking years, and he never talks about me. My kids have never came home and said, Dad's saying all this shit. He never, ever. It's never him. It's his mom and his sisters, right? So I'm like, why are they so obsessed? Like, what the fuck? And it hit me like a ton of fucking bricks. So his mom grew up in, an abusive situation, and the way that he was with me, because that's what was modeled for him. And when I left that relationship, I knew that he loved me. He really fucking did. But he had a very limited tool belt. There was anger and rage. That was pretty much all he had to work with, because that's all the fuck he was shown. And I realized they had to demonize me, because if I wasn't the problem, she had to take responsibility for the fact that she fucked her son up by leaving him or staying in a situation that was not healthy. So instead of, just owning her own shit, they have to talk about me. And I was like, oh my God, it was so freeing. I was like, dude, I didn't have to like be the way I've been and not, allow myself to receive love and to be taken care of and like all these things. I didn't need to basically build my personality based on a defensiveness, just, coming into a relationship with, just in case you do this, I'm not going to let you do this and this. That way you can't say that. Like, Jesus, man, I realized that narrative had been haunting me basically my entire, like, to fucking date, y'all, like to date. So, Yeah, that was really fucking huge.
I'm just going toilet one second. I am back. Okay.
Fucking love this
So that
guy.
brings us to this, my love. All we've talked about so far is essentially present and a little bit of past, I suppose. And that brings us to future with the world here. New chapters, new beginnings. So to recap, you need to get to this point. You need to become this version of yourself. That doesn't necessarily mean strip and dress in a robe, but you know, whatever tickles your fancy. So you need to essentially reconnect with your divine feminine energy, the Empress, right? And then essentially balance. The main message is to find balance, equilibrium, peace, right?
I'm so glad I'm doing this episode, honestly, because it's really kind of allowing me to kind of reflect on, like, you know, when he's talking about feminine, so feminine is receiving, masculine is, you know, action-based doing. I'm very, very, very much in my masculine energy, especially because of that wound from, you know, I mean, being dragged around and like just, you know, being treated like shit. And then when I leave, it's my fault and I internalize that, like, man. And so now it's like even having to come, I was on Tinder the other day, you know, I shut the profile down because I got bored, but you know, and I was talking to someone and I found myself doing it again. I'm like setting up a date and I'm like, look, I'm going to pay for this because da, 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 da. And I was like, it's like, I want to be in control of everything. That way, you know, I can't get hurt by someone's words. So this is still a wound that I'm trying to learn how to just like allow myself to receive, because when people offer me like help or whatever, I'm like, no, 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 because you're going to think I owe you something, because, you know, you're going to think that you could treat me any kind of fucking way. And I'm just going to stick around. Like, so yeah, really, really, really coming into more balance with respect to not just being action based, but also allowing myself to receive.
So number one, so you've got this very good self-image, right? Obviously we have insecurities, we all do, and underlying that there is also a lot of anxiety surrounding, I guess, how you're perceived in the more social aspect of life. But regardless, you need to slow down, rest, right? You can't do your best if you're not at your best. So right now, rest, reflect, take as much time as you need to essentially make yourself feel better mentally, physically, emotionally, right? Mind, body, soul. Number two, trust your intuition. I urge you, my love, to trust your own Hoover. Trust your own judgment. Have more self-reliance. You know, like, you could intuitively feel that you're ready for a new chapter. You're ready to start something new, right? And don't allow your current situation physically to prevent that, right? You've got time till January 1st. You've got time to rest and reflect and essentially formulate a plan, you know? In regards to love, there's been a lot of failures, I ain't gonna lie. One person in particular just came through then.
So before he gets into this, I do want to touch on what he was saying about like following your intuition, resting. So I have a real issue with that. I have a very strenuous like gym routine. You know, I like my body to look a certain way. And so at this time though, I could feel I was being called to fucking chill, to relax, to not train so damn hard. I could feel my guides and it's like, you need to just not go to the gym. I'm like, fuck you, I'm going to the gym. So I go to the gym. I'm like warming up my inner thighs and the little, you know, thigh machine or whatever. And I was like, I think my weight, my like actual working out weight was like 100, 110. I was at 80. Like that's like nothing. And I pulled a fucking muscle in my groin. I was like, really? 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 Like, this is how, and it shut me down. I couldn't fucking train anymore. I had to like take the break. So if you don't listen to your intuition, your soul will use your body to basically bully you into alignment.
Very endearing, but also just like, I don't know. It wasn't meant to be. Right person, wrong time, maybe, who knows? But regardless.
He was talking about the narcissist I was with. I really truly believed that man was like the love of my life, like my perfect fucking match. He was very good at what he did, and he was extremely endearing. And I remember thinking that he was the right guy, but at the wrong time. And he would actually tell me that, like, you jumped the timeline. You weren't supposed to come for another 2 years, you know, whatever, whatever. And I even told him, like, look, we should break up. I'll give you 2 years and you can come find me, you know? And, you know, he didn't, but I see why now, because he was dating like 80 different women or whatever. But
let's see what's going on. Oh, the magician, exactly. The thing is, my love, your life is a canvas, and you can paint whatever you want on it. Now, we've got the World and the Fool, the very first major arcana, the very last major arcana, huge beginnings, huge endings, right? Confirmation, a cycle is ending, which will result in a new beginning. Oh, the Star right after the Fool, you can't make this up. Temperance in reverse, literally. The key to starting this new beginning, my love, because right now you're out of balance, is to find balance between your divine feminine and divine masculine. How do you do that? You erect boundaries between what does and doesn't serve you. Question everything. Anything unaligned must go. Does it serve you? No. Everything. Persons, peoples, mindsets, ideologies, everything. Now, real quick before I forget, honestly, my love, I feel like a big thing you do, maybe without realizing, is comparison. And it's like you have this idea of what success is to you. So we've got, you know, financial.
Okay, so before I let him go on, I'm actually going to wrap up this episode because we're at 40 minutes. 15:22 is where we're at with the... And yeah, I got to charge my battery and, you know, pick up recording a little bit later. But so far, 15 minutes into this reading, I was bawling my eyes out. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It was so many things that were like just puzzle piecing into place and just like helping me like really, really, really understand, especially with respect to the balancing the feminine and the masculine. And it took me, like I said, a couple days. It wasn't until Thanksgiving where I put together what happened in my early 20s that totally shifted. It just shut my feminine energy off. Like, not like being womanly. I mean, like allowing myself to receive in any kind of relationship, allowing myself to be assisted, allowing myself to, you know, just be gentle with myself. It was just very much like I had this big ass, I like the visual is like a you know, those old medieval shields or whatever. It's heavy and it's big and it's like blocking any bullshit that tries to come my way. But when you block shit that comes your way, you're also blocking blessings. So this was the beginning of like doing the work to release that and to reshift that energy. And also, like you said, question everything. I woke up the next morning and I was like, why do I want everything that I want? You know, I looked at all the dreams that I have, the land, the cabin, the helicopter. Like, why do I want these things? And it was mostly about security. It was because I felt so insecure growing up. It's because, you know, when you're in a relationship and you build something with someone, you know, people like to take stuff. And I am the queen, you guys. When I leave a relationship, I will leave everything. You can keep all that bullshit. You keep the car, keep that whatever the fuck. I don't care, because I can build from nothing. I really don't need anything. And it's funny, like generally if I leave a relationship, a guy will try to get back into my experience by talking about monetary. Oh, I got this good job and oh, this money's... I don't give a fuck, because guess what? I needed somebody that wasn't a liar. I needed a connection that was valid. I needed somebody who actually wants to have sex with me and isn't like creeping in the bed, not trying not to wake me up so we don't have to fuck. Like, all the things that matter to me most are intangible. And so I had to really look at like, okay, well, why am I dreaming about these things? Like, why do I want these things? Am I just putting band-aids on the wounds of my childhood? Or are these like authentic desires? The work, y'all. So I'm going to leave you there. Thank you guys for listening. And part 2 coming up.